So I'm here with Jaelen Johnston, who is a pro. What has made you a pro after all this time, Jaelen? Just work
Oh,
being
wow.
professional in your estimation.
In my opinion, I'm still not a professional, to be honest with you. I mean, I still have so much to learn about the industry, about, being an artist authentically. I mean, it's definitely been an experience. I think the voice and all the coaching I've received from Kelsey, from behind the scenes stuff as well, I think that's helped me a lot on this journey.
Have you been able to actually really reflect on your journey and what are some of the tangible, most important lessons you've learned being part, not just like you just said, not just being part of Team Kelsey, but working with the people behind the scenes. So you kind of get a lot of different facets on what you do as an artist, I guess.
Okay. It's a good question, actually. I think the most valuable lessons I've learned, definitely stay true to yourself. Just the no matter what you're doing, any performance you have, just make sure you go out and give it your all. Practice is definitely a big thing I had to learn. I never had really professional coaching, so vocal warm-ups were never a part of my daily regimen, getting ready for a show or something like that. But, ever since I went out there, I definitely started doing them. And I mean, it's helped tremendously.
Looking back on your bio, you got your guitar at 16. Was it an
Yes, sir.
immediate passion for you when you got the guitar? Were you self-taught? What was that journey like for you as a 16-year-old to where you are today?
To be quite honest, I wasn't a fan of it at first. I think it was back when I was younger, and when I was like I've always been taught to work hard at things. Some things don't come as easy, and I tend to fight back on that a little bit when it gets a little too hard. And then, I just kind of reflect on stuff I've been taught. So I was definitely not a fan of it initially. My grandpa, he actually taught me the first four chords, and first four ones that he taught me was E minor, D, C, and G. And I kept practicing those over and over and over again, and finally, I got mildly decent at it. He got to the point where he couldn't really teach me anymore, so I kind of ran with it after that.
So looking back, your journey in Los Angeles, what was it like to make so many new friends and collaborators and staying in Los Angeles? What were your impressions of Los Angeles? And for me, living in Los Angeles, I have no idea what Derby is like. Can you actually educate me as far as your background and where your community as well?
Ooh. So as far as Derby goes, I mean, Kansas in general, if you're running late somewhere, if you're hitting traffic, say, you're maybe getting there 10 minutes later than you wanted to. And I mean, LA, you're getting there an hour and a half later. I mean, I think it was a culture shock for me. I think I had to get used to car horns pretty quick. I had to learn a completely new way of driving. I'll always let people get in front of me if they need to. And I mean, kind of figuring out that you got to nose in to get where you're going. That was hard for me. I'm letting people in. I'm getting honked at and hands thrown at me. I'm like, I'm sorry. But it was, I mean, it was awesome out there, meeting the contestants. I mean, you're out there, all of you were doing the same thing. All of you were artists. And, a lot of great songs came out of that. I think I have 14, 15 in the tank that I've wrote with friends out there. So I'm really excited about those.
And regarding friends, part of your journey working, collaborating with Haley, that must have meant a lot to both of you. I guess it's hard to put into words. I really love that IG thing you guys did with the boots. But what
Yeah.
was that like having and continuing that friendship with Haley from The Voice and then post The Voice as well?
I'll tell you, she is a absolutely spectacular person. I mean, the personality you got in that Cowboy Sweetheart performance, that's her at all times. I mean, she's rowdy, she's hilarious. I think when they paired us, I had never met her, and I was like, oh, I wonder how it's gonna go. I'm always excited to meet everybody, but I think her and I meshed instantly. We're constantly cracking jokes. I give her a call after the last couple performances and talked to her about it for a while. Told her congrats. Definitely gonna miss having her out there though. I mean, she was definitely an anchor for Team Kelsey for sure.
Now, with all the knowledge you get from The Voice, you come back home. I'm assuming if you're, I don't know what the schedule is, if you still have the full-time job, but what kind of new attitude or maybe viewpoints do you have coming back home and how you approach your career? Or maybe not. Maybe it's always been the same, no matter whether you join The Voice or not.
Right. I would say it's a lot the same. The biggest difference is February 28th, I actually did quit my job and I was able to pursue music full time. So I'm super stoked about that. I think the biggest difference, before The Voice and now, I had to get really comfortable with a massive camera in my face. So kind of eliminated most of the stage fright aspect. I still have it from time to time, but I think that's definitely trying to figure out the best way to word it. It's definitely aided. It's definitely aided my stage performance. I move better on stage. I interact with the crowd better, and I'm definitely a lot less nervous than I was starting out.
You talked about moving that last episode. You have Kelsey talking about
Yeah.
how you're moving around better, but then also I'm sure I don't know if you actually go through a lot of maybe the TikTok, IG, social media comments. A lot of people are saying your voice is really traditional country. That must mean a lot to you. Also, there are people, even the coaches are saying like you're the pure package, and
Oh,
that must feel great here. But then also, do you kind of balance it because you're very humble and you have a great work ethic? How do you balance all of the compliments you're getting as far as your artistry?
I think. Oh, I don't know. I mean, I think that was just something I was taught. Growing up, I've met a lot of artists. Some are extremely humble. I mean, great people, and some not so much. And I learned pretty quick who I how I wanted to portray myself and who I wanted to be as a person. Taking the life lessons I've been taught growing up and having some not so healthy interactions with other people in the music scene. It was just, I mean, to me, if you remain humble, you give grace, it's everything is going to come back around. So it's really just putting faith into it. The comments though have been amazing. The support hometown online has been completely overwhelming in the best way possible. Um, Being told that my voice is very traditional is definitely a great feeling. I mean, I grew up off of everything from Biggie and Tupac to Alan Jackson and George Strait. Very very musically diverse household. So I'd latched on to country really early, and I mean, to be told by Kelsey I was doing country proud was one of the biggest compliments and one of my personal favorites that I've ever gotten.
Yeah, that is amazing. You mentioned in LA learning how to drive a different way when people just cut you off.
Oh Lord.
I hate to say it, LA. I'm an Angelino. A lot of LA people are very fake nice, but then in the freeway they'll cut you off. I really love how the respect and grace you give people no matter what. And you talked about some interactions that may not go. They might go south, but you
Right.
still remain humble and true. Where does that come from? Is it because a lot of people would say, well, if you're going to act like that, I'm going to act like this. And you're
Right.
not that type of person. Do you learn those lessons? You mentioned your grandfather, your family. Is that where the values you get no matter
Yes.
what? Or
100%. I mean, I was grown the way I was raised, I was taught to be respectful no matter what. Um, Firm believer in karma for sure. I think, just if you give respect, you get respect back. I think I mean, okay, I can't always say it's been easy, in those interactions when something adverse happens, it is a human reaction. I'll first be like, oh, if you're gonna do that, I'm gonna do this. And I had my fair share of that. But I learned pretty quick that that's not how I want to be. That's not how I want to go about life. It's a pretty harsh outlook. So I was like, you know what? I'll just respect everybody until you give me a reason not to. If you give me a reason not to, we just won't interact.
Jalen, what does the road look ahead for you? You mentioned songwriting. There's going to be shows upcoming. Can you tell
Yes.
our listeners, our viewers, what is next for Jaelen Johnston post The Voice and continuing your career?
Oof. Well, I guess during, what's next this week? I have a show at a place in Wichita, Kansas called the Rusty Nail. And the cool thing about that show is, I mean, that's really where it started. That was the first place I ever did open mic. First gig I ever played. I definitely cut my teeth there. I probably shouldn't have been in the bar at a 16, 17, but I got my guitar. I went in there. I was so nervous, but that was where I kind of got comfortable on a stage and started moving around a little bit. So it's a blessing to be able to go back out there after the show. On the other hand, I think probably about June, July time, I'm releasing another 4 or 5 song EP.
Wow.
So I'm looking forward to that. I have a few songs on there that really mean a lot. The most recent, or I guess I don't know, I might title it. It's called I might use for the title. It's called Quitting You, and I think that is the first true love song that I've ever written. And that was definitely, if you go back and listen to my discography, that's definitely not how I started out. So it's a big switch, but I'm really excited to get that one out and released.
Uh, Is it hard to, when you're quitting you and you're talking about that last episode, you mentioned your past relationship. Was it hard to get personal? Because I'm just, is it hard to share that part of you? Or being an artist, people will get to know you and they'll get to know you through your music. Is that sort of part and parcel, part of the bargain, I guess?
I think for me, it's always been a struggle opening up emotionally. I think to be quite honest with you, with that, the feelings were gone. It wasn't it wasn't the best relationship. It wasn't the healthiest relationship. So I got over it rather quick. But I think with that song, Dial Drunk's just an emotional song in general. So I think, just trying to feel the original storytelling of that and kind of putting myself in that position. I think that's what aided the emotional aspect of the performance. But, it definitely has been hard to open up about certain things, especially, with my grandpa. I think that's the biggest struggle opening up about, to be honest.
Yeah. Final couple questions. Jaelen, when people ask you, DM you or whatnot, or email you whatnot, or ask you advice on how to get on The Voice, what kind of general advice can you give people? Because everyone has a different motivation, right? So
Right.
is it hard giving that type of insights regarding how do I get on The Voice, that kind of thing?
I'll be honest, I'm kind of a straight shooter, so I'll just tell them to do the online application. Everybody has something different that makes them tick. And if you do want to do something like that, I mean, you definitely got to get thick skin. Everybody's going to enjoy you. You're not going to be everybody's cup of tea. But I mean, you got to get thick skin. You got to stay true to yourself, and you got to leave everything out there when you go.
Yeah. And final question is, I do a movie podcast and I ask people for movie recommendations. Final question is, Jaelen, can you name one of your all-time favorite movies and what is it about this movie that you love so much? And then the B side of that, Jaelen, thank you for your time by the way, is can you name a favorite country album for you and what makes it so personal for you? Yeah.
Okay. Favorite movie, hands down, Roadhouse, the original. And I just figured out, I've been talking to buddies, and a lot of my buddies have seen it. And oh Lord, I met so many people that's never seen the original. And I talk about
What?
Roadhouse, and they're like, "Oh, the Jake Gyllenhaal one." And I go, "No, no, 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 no." I have to explain that. That I've seen that movie at least 16 times. I guarantee you, I could sit in front of a TV and recite the entire script. All time favorite movie.
I love Sam Elliott. He's one of my all-time favorite characters in that movie. And he's so great as that guy. It's tough. Yeah, I love that movie so much.
Amazing, amazing. All time favorite albums. Oof. Oh, I don't know. I'm terrible with album names, but
Okay,
I can
gotcha.
name a song off it. I can't remember if it's a single or if it's included in the album, but a rap by George Strait.
Oh,
That's whatever album that's on. I'm almost positive it's an album, but I could be wrong. I've definitely been wrong before. But I mean, that was prime George Strait, and that was like, he was at his peak. He's releasing songs like that, and he was what everybody wanted to hear at the time. I think that was definitely a big favorite for me.
Jalen, thank you so much for your time and good luck moving forward with The Voice. And we'll follow your music post The Voice as well.
Thank you so much, brother. I appreciate you.
Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. For more movie and television reviews and interviews, please subscribe to my Deepest Dream channel. Like, comment, share, subscribe. And as always, thanks so much for your support. Take care.